Let me ask you something personal. Who do you live with right now? Maybe you live with your spouse. Maybe you live with your children or grandchildren. Perhaps you live alone, or maybe you're considering moving into a retirement community. But here's the real question. Does who you live with after 70 affect how long and how happily you live? According to science and the wisdom of those who've lived the longest, the answer is yes. In fact, one of the most overlooked secrets to longevity isn't just about what you eat or how much you exercise. It's about who surrounds you every day. Recently, I had the privilege of speaking with a remarkable woman named Florence, who's 92 years old. She's lived through decades of life experience, wars, pandemics, personal losses, and incredible joys. And when I asked her what her number one tip for living a longer, happier life after 70 was, her answer surprised me. She didn't say take vitamins or go for a walk. She said make sure you live with people who make you feel loved and needed. That's the real medicine. At first it might sound simple, but when you think about it, Florence is right. Human connection is one of the most powerful factors in longevity. Science backs her up. Studies from Harvard, Stanford, and the world-famous Blue Zones, those rare places where people regularly live past 100, have found that strong social bonds can add years to your life. And loneliness? It can be as harmful as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. So today we're going to explore why your living situation after 70 matters more than most people realize. 5 powerful reasons choosing who you live with can increase your lifespan and happiness. Real stories of seniors who changed their living situation and saw dramatic improvements in health and mood. Actionable tips to build a life of connection, no matter where you are right now. By the end of this video, you'll have a deeper understanding of why who you live with isn't just about comfort, it's about survival, joy, and health. So whether you're deciding between living alone with family or in a community, stay with me. We're about to dive into some life-changing insights. Let's start with the first reason why your living arrangement after 70 could be the key to a longer, happier life. Number 1. Emotional connection lowers stress and inflammation. The first reason living with the right people after 70 extends life is because emotional connection directly reduces stress, and that lowers inflammation in the body. Now, you might be thinking, what does stress have to do with who I live with? Well, let's break it down. When you live alone or live with people who make you feel tense, you're more likely to experience chronic stress. Your body releases a hormone called cortisol in response. And while a little cortisol is okay, too much for too long creates inflammation. Inflammation is linked to nearly every age-related disease, including heart disease, diabetes. On the other hand, when you live with people who offer kindness, love, and emotional support, your body releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. Oxytocin naturally lowers cortisol and reduces inflammation. Let me give you a real example. Hardy, 72, lost his wife 3 years ago. For a while he lived alone and felt his health decline. His joints ached more, his blood pressure went up, and his sleep was restless. But then Hardy's daughter invited him to move into her home. At first Hardy hesitated. He didn't want to be a burden. But he soon realized that being around his grandchildren, sharing meals and having simple daily conversations brought him back to life. His doctor even noticed his blood pressure lowered and his inflammation markers improved. Why? Because human connection is like medicine for the nervous system. Here's what you can do. If you live alone, find ways to connect daily, phone calls, visits, or video chats. Consider living with family or close friends if it feels right. If that's not possible, look into shared housing or senior living communities that focus on companionship, not just care. Remember, it's not about how many people you live with, but how loved and supported you feel. Have you noticed how connection affects your health? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if this is helpful so far, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Let's move on to the next reason. Number 2. Daily social interaction keeps the brain sharp. The second reason who you live with matters after 70 is because social interaction keeps your mind active and protects your brain from cognitive decline. Have you ever heard the phrase, use it or lose it? That's especially true when it comes to memory, attention, and focus. When you live with people you interact with daily, whether it's family, a friend, or even a roommate, you naturally have more conversations. Use your memory to recall stories or names. Solve little problems together, like planning meals or playing games. All of this is like exercise for your brain. Studies from the Alzheimer's Association have shown that regular social engagement reduces the risk of dementia by up to 45%. That's huge. Now let's consider the opposite. When seniors live alone with little daily interaction, the brain gets less stimulation. Over time, this can lead to memory loss, confusion, feelings of isolation that worsen cognitive decline. But there's good news. It's never too late to change that pattern. Let's imagine someone like Margaret, 75. She lived alone for years after retirement and noticed she was forgetting small things like where she put her keys or whether she took her medication. Margaret decided to join a senior co-housing community where residents share common spaces but have their own rooms. Now she chats with neighbors over coffee every morning, helps with group dinners, and plays cards in the evenings. Within months, Margaret felt sharper, her memory improved, and she felt more engaged with life. Here's what you can do. If possible, live with someone who enjoys conversation and shared activities. If living together isn't an option, commit to daily phone calls or video chats. Join local clubs or classes to keep your mind active, even virtual ones. Does this sound like you? Have you noticed your brain feels sharper after a good chat with someone? Tell me in the comments. Let's dive into the next reason. Rower. Number 3. Shared living encourages healthy routines. Another powerful benefit of living with the right people is that it encourages healthier habits without even trying. Think about it. When you live alone, it's easy to slip into routines like skipping meals, forgetting to take medications, sitting too much or avoiding exercise, watching TV for hours without moving. But when you live with others, even simple interactions help keep you accountable. For example, you share meals, so you're more likely to eat regularly. You remind each other to take medications. You might go for a walk together, or do light chores that keep you moving. You maintain a daily rhythm, which helps your circadian clock stay in balance, crucial for sleep and energy. Let's consider a simple story. Arthur, 80, used to live alone after his wife passed. He often skipped breakfast, ate frozen dinners for lunch, and napped most of the day. His health started to decline, not because he didn't care, but because there was no one around to share life's little moments. One day, Arthur's longtime friend George suggested they become housemates. They moved in together, sharing expenses and daily tasks. Now they eat breakfast together, remind each other to stay active, and laugh over evening card games. Arthur says his energy has doubled, and he feels more like himself again. What can you do? Find someone you trust to live with, or make plans to spend time with others during meals and daily routines. Set shared goals, like walking together, or cooking healthy dinners. Use technology if needed. Some people use reminder apps or virtual health check-ins with family. Have you ever noticed that you're more likely to stick to healthy habits when someone else is involved? Let me know in the comments. And if you haven't subscribed yet, now's a great time to hit that button and turn on the bell. Let's move on to the next reason. Number 4. Living with others reduces the risk of emergency health events. Here's something important that most people don't think about. Living with others can actually reduce your risk of severe health emergencies. Why? Because when you live alone, a fall, stroke, or heart issue could go unnoticed for hours, or even days. But when you live with someone or have daily in-person contact, they can notice when something's wrong. Call for help right away. Provide support in those crucial first moments. According to the CDC, older adults who live alone are at higher risk of delayed medical care during emergencies, and delayed care often leads to worse outcomes. Living with someone, even if it's just sharing a home with a friend or having a family member nearby, can literally save your life. Let's consider a scenario. Imagine you slip in the bathroom late at night. If you live alone, you might not be able to reach the phone. But if you live with someone, or have a neighbor check in regularly, they can get you the help you need fast. Here's what you can do. Consider shared living with someone you trust, especially if you have health concerns. If you prefer living alone, set up a daily check-in system with friends, family, or neighbors. Use medical alert devices or phone apps that can notify loved ones if you fall or need help. Does this make you think differently about your current setup? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear your perspective. Let's move to the final reason. Number 5. Feeling needed and valued extends life. The last reason, and perhaps the most important, is that living with others gives you a sense of purpose. When you live alone, it's easy to feel like life is slowing down. But when you live with people who value you, need your wisdom, or depend on your presence, you stay engaged. Purpose is a major predictor of longevity. In fact, a study in the journal Psychological Science found that having a reason to get up in the morning can lower your risk of death by up to 23%. This doesn't mean you have to work a full-time job. Purpose can be simple: helping care for grandchildren, cooking a favorite family recipe, offering advice to younger people, just being there to share a smile or kind word. Remember Florence, the 92-year-old elder I mentioned earlier. She lives with her daughter and grandchildren. Every day she teaches them life lessons, helps fold laundry, or just listens to their stories. Florence says, "They make me feel like I matter. That's why I'm still here." What can you do? Look for ways to contribute to your home, no matter how small. Offer wisdom, share stories, or help with light tasks. If you live alone, find community roles, mentoring, volunteering, or calling a friend who needs support. Feeling needed isn't just nice, it's life-extending. Have you found ways to stay purposeful after 70? Share your ideas in the comments. And if you're enjoying this, give it a like so more people can learn from these insights. We talked about the one longevity tip from a 92-year-old elder. Live with people who make you feel loved and needed. And here's why it matters. 1. Emotional connection lowers stress and reduces harmful inflammation. 2. Daily social interaction keeps the brain sharp and prevents cognitive decline. 2. Shared living encourages healthier daily habits without extra effort. 4. Living with others reduces the risk of delayed medical care during emergencies. 5. Feeling needed gives you purpose, which is one of the strongest predictors of a longer life. So what stood out to you today? Are you thinking differently about your current living situation? Is there a change you're considering to add more connection to your life? Share your thoughts in the comments. I read every single one, and I'd love to know what you'll try. And if you haven't yet, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and turn on the bell so you never miss a weekly guide to better aging and happier living. Next week we'll be talking about how to strengthen your bones naturally after 60 without dangerous medications. So stay tuned for that. Thank you for spending time with me today. Take care of yourself and each other.